This is a video review of my 2013 ZL1 Camaro as it's being listed for sale. It's been for sale for about a month. It's an overcast day in South Carolina. The car was washed about 2 weeks ago and sealed. The brake dust that's on the rims is from approximately 75 miles of driving. And the exhaust tips haven't been touched since it was washed. The fabric top has also been left untouched since it was washed. The only thing I've done to the paint is quick detail it. It hasn't been rained on since it was washed. You'll notice at the fuel cap there's a slight divot. I don't know what caused that. Maybe just by opening or operating it. I didn't observe it when the car was new, so I think that occurred at some point since I've owned it. Some people don't take care of cars in parking lots like you would. There's also a bit of a wave underneath this side view mirror. I don't know if that's from somebody running into it, meaning the side view mirror prior to me purchasing the car, or if it just developed since I've owned it. It's very, very difficult to see, but I'm pretty much a perfectionist, so I'm going to give an honest review of the vehicle as it is now. All these Camaros have these gills. The ZL1 has extra wide tires, so the gills are more prone to rock damage from the wide front wheels. I have these custom made mud flaps, just somebody on the forums makes for different model Camaros, and they effectively block much of what would hit those gills. This car has 4,100 miles on it, and at that age there probably wouldn't be any damage on the car, but I expect that this will help make those gills last a lot longer. I'm curious what an aged generation, this generation Camaro would look like with any kind of wide front tires. See how those affect the car. There's the rear wheel. You can see that those generate not a lot of brake dust, but this car has extremely high performance brakes, from the factory. It has a painted carbon fiber hood insert. I'm glad when I located this car that it didn't have the exposed carbon fiber. The exposed carbon fiber has been, some people have issues with it delaminating, so no problems with that, or at least if it did delaminate you wouldn't be able to see it. I'll mention the car has tinted windows. They were like that when I located it. There's a clean front wheel, so you can see all I did was quick detail the wheel, so I didn't actually use soap and water, so it turned out very, very good. The front splitter, a car dealership I will accuse of scuffing the driver's side of the front splitter, but it's another one of those things that you probably won't ever notice, or to make you feel better if you actually end up scuffing it yourself. Here's the driver's front wheel to show you about how much brake dust will accumulate using these, OEM brake setup. And again, it's really good as far as levels of acceptable considering what the car is capable of. No noticeable issues with the driver's side of the vehicle. It looks fantastic. And again, with the gills, and the rear tire. The front bumper has no real any kind of road rash. It looks really, really good. The only rock chip on the vehicle would be right there. I don't know if the video will capture it. Quick peek at the inside of the vehicle. I haven't vacuumed it in probably 3 months. Also haven't done any kind of protectant wipe down probably in at least that long. I just used the car to cruise in pretty much. It's only ever been on one road trip, and I've owned it for a year, so it's all 4,100 miles, 4,200 miles, all I put on it in that time. As of the date of this recording, all of this generation Camaro has a recall on the ignition, and it's just simply that some drivers have managed to turn off their cars by bumping their knee on the ignition key. I've never done it. The fix is a redesigned key with the key fob on a keychain. So there's nothing actually wrong with the vehicle, and in my opinion, nothing wrong with the vehicle design. I think that's a operator error type thing. But if anybody's ever been hurt because of it, then probably does need to be improved. There's the top controls and the home link. The car has a heads-up display, which I think is standard on the ZL1s. I added the microfiber steering wheel and shifter. I didn't agree with the dealer pricing to get those replaced. And I'm not, it has the navigation. I think that was an option on these vehicles. For the 13, there was no Recaro seat option. These seats are very, very comfortable when the car is in touring drive mode. It's a very compliant ride. I would say it'll impress anybody who drives it how much it is just a nice car to cruise in. Nothing against the design of the manual transmission. One of the reasons I'm selling it is because it results in some knee pain when I drive the car for any kind of length of time. Let's pull up the trunk. That bag stores the tonneau cover. It's got the cargo, I guess you could call it cargo shade, but if it's not pulled out and latched, the car won't let you drop the top. And under the hood, I've never cleaned under the vehicle's hood. I haven't opened it very often either. Nothing's been done under here for probably 1,500 miles. I drove it with a Rotofab cold air intake. Can't say that there was any power improvement, though many people will say there was. The reason that I removed it and put the factory airbox back on it was for I would say a drivability refinement. With the factory box, the car drives under deceleration. It sounds very muscular. With the cold air intake, when you're decelerating or shifting gears, the car would sound mean. Like a really rumbly, grumble coming from the exhaust, and I think that could be tuned out. If I was going to keep the car, I would just tune it with the Rotofab intake and say, the set of headers I selected for it, or whatever route I went, in a larger supercharger pulley or what have you. And that happens to be the supercharger pulley. And there's also GM extended the warranty on the supercharger unit to 100,000 miles. I think 12 years, maybe it's 10 years. But they're having there's a isolator inside that snorkel for the supercharger. People complain about it making a diesel type sound. Also the CTS-V cars. And all the LSA equipped cars owners complain about that. It is, they say in the extension notice that if it bothers you, take it into them. They'll listen to it and see if it's beyond normal, and then they'll replace the whole supercharger. That's something to consider, if you're ever going to modify the car with that extended warranty. To have the fastest car on the street, it's never going to happen. Might be a good idea just to leave it alone. But the potential for this car, these engines, transmission, drivetrain, 700 horsepower, is very streetable and should still give you, the 100,000 miles, out of the block. Not an engine guy. That's just what I gather from people that own these cars.